Thank you for watching this briefing, where we provide you with some information on the ASDAN Extended Project Qualification, often referred to as the EPQ. I am Kerry King, Senior Education Development Partner at ASDAN and lead for the Personal Effectiveness Pathway. I am joined by Cath Moss, Head of Curriculum Development, who will shortly be talking us through the qualification. You may be new to ASDAN or have worked with us in the past, but here's a little information about who we are. ASDAN is an education charity and awarding organisation which specialises in curriculum programmes and qualifications designed to develop personal, social and work-related skills. Our mission is to engage, elevate and empower young people, particularly those with diverse needs or facing barriers to success. At the heart of ASDAN's DNA is the development of executive function skills, things like planning, organising, regulating emotions, problem solving and reflecting. These aren't extra skills, they are the foundations that unlock learning itself. What ASDAN does is deliberately create learning experiences that build metacognition, so thinking about thinking, strengthen self-regulation, managing focus, emotions and behaviour, and encourage agency and reflection, owning decisions and learning from them. Cath will now talk us through the qualification and some key points of this.
So what does the ASDAN Level 3 Extended Project Qualification look like? The ASDAN EPQ is a Level 3 qualification equivalent in size to an AS level. It's designed for learners aged 16 and over and delivered alongside other Level 3 programmes. These could be A-levels or vocational qualifications at Level 3. There are 30 hours of taught content when learners develop the skills they need to plan, execute and present their project. The taught element prepares learners for working independently, and it covers research skills, project management, critical thinking and reflection. This is followed by 90 hours of independent learning, where learners apply those skills in practice. A key feature of the qualification is the balance of the learner owning the project, steering it and managing the outcomes and outputs, and the teacher who acts as a supervisor and guide. This balance is critical. It allows learners to develop independence under supervision. But we should really talk about why project qualifications, in this case the EPQ, are such a valuable qualification for young people. Most people are much more familiar with traditional A-levels and vocational qualifications at Level 3, like BTECs and T-levels. Thinking about these traditional qualifications, though, we can say that whether they are academic or vocational, they are by design focused on subject-specific knowledge and skills. And of course, that's important. Young people need to learn those things, especially where qualifications provide direct progression onto a higher study course or specific career route. But there are three persistent challenges we see. Learner choice can be constrained to what's available locally. So learners choose subjects that are available rather than studying what really interests or motivates them. We know that even high-performing learners can struggle to transfer their knowledge into unfamiliar or real-world contexts. And finally, employers consistently tell us that young people are leaving education without the wider skills they need, things like initiative, communication, and independent thinking. Importantly, this isn't just anecdotal. Recent UK research shows that only around a quarter of employers believe young people are well prepared for the workplace, with gaps in areas like resilience, communication, and self-management. So we're not saying that these traditional qualifications are failing, but they're not designed to develop the full range of capabilities that learners need to thrive beyond those qualifications. And that's where project-based qualifications and the EPQ come in. It sits alongside other qualifications and fills that gap. It matters now more than ever. What we're seeing increasingly is that success after education depends on much more than grades. It depends on employability, confidence and resilience, the ability to apply knowledge in real-world contexts, and readiness for progression. At the same time, many young people report low confidence and high anxiety, and fewer feel ready to move into work or further study. National data reinforces this challenge. In the UK, there's a growing number of young people becoming disengaged from both education and employment, which has long-term consequences for their confidence, well-being, and economic prospects. This was reported in the very recent Young People and Work Interim Report by Alan Milburn. So there's a clear disconnect. We're teaching content successfully, but not always equipping learners to use it, adapt it, and have confidence in applying it. The EPQ has been designed specifically to address that disconnect. When we look ahead to the skills young people will need, whether that's through global frameworks or employer insight, the message is very consistent. Skills such as critical thinking, problem solving, communication, and self-management are increasingly central. And importantly, research shows that these are best developed through active, applied learning, not through passive knowledge acquisition. Project-based learning, which underpins the EPQ, is widely recognised as a student-centred approach that develops problem-solving, collaboration, and real-world application of knowledge. So what we're doing is not new or experimental. It's aligned with well-established evidence about how people learn best. So project-based learning fundamentally changes the learner's role in the qualifications that they're undertaking. They're no longer passive participants in a curriculum that's been set by someone else. Project qualifications offer freedom to learners to choose their own project. They give learners the opportunity to gain a range of skills, and they help learners to develop and apply these skills. They help learners to use their learning experience to support personal aspirations. Instead of following a prescribed path, learners lead their own inquiry. They choose something that's meaningful to them, and they work through planning, research, creation, and evaluation. What we see consistently is higher motivation and engagement, greater ownership of learning, and stronger development of transferable skills. And again, this approach is strongly supported by research. Meta-analyses of project-based learning show positive impacts on both academic achievement and student motivation compared to traditional instruction. This happens because learners are applying knowledge rather than memorizing it. They're solving real problems and they're reflecting on their learning. So the outcome is not just engagement, it's deeper and more transferable learning. And importantly, this works across academic pathways, vocational pathways, and mixed programs. Because it's not just about the subject, it's about the process of learning itself. At the heart of ASDAN's approach to all its courses are its 6 core skill areas, what we call our DNA. These are learning skills, communication skills, decision-making and problem-solving skills, thinking, and importantly at this level, critical thinking skills, team working and working collaboratively with others, and self-awareness that includes resilience and well-being in learning. ASDAN's DNA is grounded in strong evidence. The Education Endowment Foundation highlights that metacognition and self-regulation, essentially the ability to plan, monitor, and evaluate your own learning, are among the highest impact strategies for improving outcomes. So what we're doing here is embedding those approaches directly into the qualification design. These are not optional extras. They're explicitly taught and developed through the EPQ. Learners develop critical thinking skills through research, as well as literacy and oracy, for example, through opportunities to experience networking in a professional capacity and present their project outcomes in a chosen format. Learners use their learning experience to support their aspirations for further learning and career development. If you've ever worked with learners on an ASDAN course or qualification before, you'll know that planning, doing, and reviewing are also integral to the ASDAN way of doing things. And this is something that's no different in the EPQ. This slide shows an example of how the ASDAN plan, do, review cycle works. But what does that look like for the EPQ? Let's break down the EPQ further so that you've got an idea of what learners actually do. Assessment is built around 4 objectives that are not arbitrary. They reflect the full life cycle of real-world project work. Assessment Objective 1 focuses on planning and ownership. Learners identify, design, plan, and carry out the project. They apply a range of skills, strategies, and methods to achieve objectives. Assessment Objective 2, where the learner researches, critically selects, organises, and uses information. They select and use a range of sources. Learners analyse data and apply it in a way that's relevant to the project and demonstrates their understanding of the links, connections, and complexities within the topic. Assessment Objective 3 carries the greatest weighting. It's about doing. Learners are making decisions about what skills to use and when, what not to do and when not to do it, solving problems, using new technologies, and achieving the planned outcomes. And finally, Assessment Objective 4. For this learning outcome, learners evaluate all aspects of the extended project, including their own learning and performance. They use a range of communication skills and media to present the project outcomes and conclusions, along with the evidence that supports the outcomes. And they do this in a format they've chosen as being appropriate to the topic and project. Together, these objectives ensure learners are not just producing work, they're demonstrating how they think, how they learn, and how they improve. And this is exactly what both universities and employers value. One of the strengths of the EPQ is the flexibility in the range of possible outputs. Learners can produce a dissertation, an artifact, or a performance. And all of these are accompanied with a presentation and question and answer session when learners present their project output, the outcomes, and review to an audience. This choice of outputs allows learners to play to their strengths. It allows them to explore different forms of learning and connect their work to real-world or vocational contexts. Importantly, research shows that authentic real-world tasks significantly enhance both engagement and skill development. But beyond the output, the real impact is in what learners develop: initiative, self-awareness, resilience, and self-management. And these are the attributes that go far beyond the qualification itself. The EPQ is graded just like AS and A levels, so it's easily comparable. Although you can expect to be surprised by which learners achieve the highest grades in an EPQ, because it can often be learners who wouldn't traditionally be on target to get top marks in academic qualifications. It also carries UCAS points. The number of points depends on the grade achieved, but this is valued by universities. We know that for centres, confidence in the integrity of a qualification is critical. The ASDAN EPQ uses a robust, multi-layered model. It's internally assessed by a supervisor assessor, internally moderated and standardised, and it's externally moderated by ASDAN. This ensures that the grade a learner achieves is a true reflection of their capability to learn independently. All of this ensures fairness, consistency, and reliability. Centres are supported by ASDAN through initial qualification training, guidance, ongoing support through ASDAN's Centre Support Team, and educational development partners who are on hand to deal with admin queries and to discuss delivery conundrums. In summary, the ASDAN EPQ addresses a clear and well-evidenced gap by developing the skills, confidence, and independence that learners need for their next steps. It does this through a carefully designed project-based approach, evidence-informed teaching and assessment, and robust quality assurance. Research shows that learners who complete an EPQ are more likely to progress to higher education, less likely to drop out, and more likely to achieve strong degree outcomes compared to similar peers. So for centres, this is not just a qualification that sounds good, it's one that is rigorous, nationally recognised, and demonstrably effective in supporting progression and success. Ultimately, it's about helping young people not just achieve, but truly thrive.
So you have some information on the ASDAN EPQ. What are the next steps? If you're brand new to ASDAN, we would love to hear from you. Please complete an expression of interest form indicating your interest in this qualification, and one of our education development partners will be in contact to arrange a meeting to get to know more about your centre and your learners to ensure this is the right course for you. The expression of interest form can be found on the ASDAN website on the membership page. If you're an existing ASDAN member, we would love to talk to you about your organisation and learners to ensure that the EPQ is the right fit. Please book a meeting with one of the Personal Effectiveness team. Our education development partners will be able to talk you through approval and training requirements. You can use the QR code on screen to book a meeting or drop us an email to start the conversation. You will also need to request approval to deliver the qualification, and this can be done in the members area of the ASDAN website. Thank you for joining us today. We look forward to meeting with you soon.